And hello out there, all you stay tuners. Welcome back. Took a 2-week hiatus there. Took last week off. Had a little technical difficulties with the computer and some personal issues came up. Had to take care of. So I'm sorry about last week not having an episode, but a lot of talk about this week. A lot of catching up to do. But how's everybody's week going? Mine's going pretty good. It's going pretty quick. Well, it was going good till a couple hours ago. King texted me about a player of ours. I'll get into that a little bit. And then also got some news about the Eagles. A player was supposed to be coming back and re-aggravated an old injury. So I'll be talking about that a little bit since it's the Dallas Eagles rivalry week. They play Sunday night. I already told my boss I'm not coming in early. I'll be up watching that game. And even if you guys want, you could jump on Twitter and follow me over there at Jimbo ST Sports. I'll probably be tweeting during that game here and there. Probably a lot of bad calls, just like the rest of the year it's been going. But speaking of Twitter and our Twitter accounts, you can follow the show at ST Sports Podcast. And then you could also follow King at King of Skunk Duck. All you Devil fans out there, Jersey Devil fans, he's got a new hoodie, shirt up. Just head over to his account, his Teespring, and pick up a shirt. He's got that one. He's got John Sebastian Dia, who they acquired in the off-season, preseason, I think it was. And I mean, he's a good player. I've seen him up here with the baby pens the past couple of years, and I thought for sure he would have stuck around with the big pens, but they're just so deep with talent in the farm system, and there's just a number game, I guess, basically happened with him. But speaking of hockey, some hockey news this past week. And like I said, we didn't do a show last week, so I'm going to try to do some catching up with stuff that happened last week with the NFL trade deadline, and then, I think it was yesterday the Blackhawks fired the coach, so it's going to be kind of a 2-week into one episode situation. So, but talking about hockey, and well, since I brought up about the Blackhawks coach, yesterday, the Chicago Blackhawks fired their long-tenured coach. I think he was there for like 9 years, Joe Quenneville. And I was kind of surprised because when I was reading about it, like I said, I've only been following hockey a few years, but with King as my friend, and even when I wasn't following hockey, he would bring up different stats or teams that he doesn't like. I know he hates watching the Blackhawks play the outdoor games. It's always them. And the one thing with Joe Quenneville was he won 3 Stanley Cups with Blackhawks. I think it was past like 9 years, 9 seasons, and they were kind of struggling this year, so they wanted to go a different direction. Speaking of firing coaches, the Flyers, there was a rumor that came out earlier in the week before the West Coast trip that if Philly didn't come out with any points, they were going to let Hextall go. And of course, we took 7 of a possible 8 points. So his job seems to be safe for now. But then this happened with Joe Quenneville, and I've been seeing a lot of Flyers fans saying, we should go after him and fire Hextall, this and that. And I was one of the last ones to jump on the fire Hextall bandwagon. But watching the team this year, we have the talent, and it just seems like some days they want to play for Hack. Some days they just seem like they're not prepared well enough. So I think with this move by the Blackhawks, I think it's time to move on from Hack and go after Quenneville. I mean, he's a proven coach. He proved he could win. I mean, come on, 3 Stanley Cups in 9-10 seasons. He's the second winningest coach in NHL history. So put him on this team with Wayne Simmons, and I know a lot of people bash Voracek, but I like Voracek. I mean, he may have some dumb plays here and there, but every hockey player does it. Even I'm sure Crosby does. I'm sure Ovechkin. I'm sure all the legendary players have slip-ups here and there. But this is a young team, and as a season ticket holder of the Baby Pens, I get to see the Baby Flyers play, and their farm system is loaded with offensive and defensive players. Now, Carter Hart's not... Well, he's starting to come around. I know in the beginning of the season he wasn't doing that well, but he's starting to come around. Hopefully he's our goaltender of the future, because, well, one-on-one, our goaltenders can't stay healthy. We had Brian Elliott get taken out by Konechny the other day, earlier in the week. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday. But I would definitely go after the Quenneville, and you're not necessarily trying to do a new rebuild. We just need new coach, new assistant coaches. Our penalty kill is still terrible. It's been terrible for 3-4 years now, and we still keep bringing back the same bringing back the same coach. So as far as Quenneville, I hope we go after him. My luck, since I want them to go after him, they won't. They'll probably stick with Hackstall. Now, if they stick with Hackstall the whole season and we don't make the playoffs, or it's an early exit again like last season, I could see both Hack and Hextall being replaced. So I think this might be a defining moment, if you want to call it that, for Hextall as well, to see what exactly he does. But only time will tell. Another kind of a nice story that happened a couple nights ago was the Devils-Penguins game, which actually there's probably 2 nice things that happened with this. One was that the Devils beat the Penguins, even though I bust on King about the Devils, and a couple of my buddies that I play NHL with who are Devils fans. But Brian Boyle posted his first ever career hat trick. And the reason why I say this is a nice story is because not only was it his first ever career hat trick, it was on the night that it was a promotion night, Hockey Fights Cancer night. And in case no one knows about what happened with Brian Boyle, last season he was diagnosed with cancer, leukemia to be exact, and ended up going in remission, and he ended up playing last season and had a decent season. But the fact that he got a hat trick on Hockey Fights Cancer night, that it kind of gives you like a little bit of chills in a way. And on top of that, I think it was last week, he came out and said that his leukemia is confirmed to be in remission. So we're very happy to hear about that. You want to bust on each other about my team's better, or you guys stink, this and that, but you don't want to see. You gotta remember these players are still human beings. You don't want to see ill will to them or anything like that. You may joke about it. I mean, when I was 16, I think it was, I was on the way to the Dallas Cowboys Eagles game down at the old vet when Bobby Taylor drove Michael Irvin right into the ground, and they carted him off the field, and pretty sure that was his last game ever played, because he ended up having neck problems. And I never liked Michael Irvin. I don't like the over-top flamboyancy that he always plays with. But I didn't want to see the guy die on the field or literally break his neck or he's paralyzed or anything like that. I mean, I got friends that are Cowboys fans, and we still bust on each other. But like I said, it's just a nice story to see for Brian Boyle with this to go down this way. And then, like I said, to beat the Penguins, that's like the icing on the cake, if you want to call that, or the cherry on the ice cream, or any other type of cliche you want to say. But as far as hockey news, I think that's all that really happened. I know, what was it, Austin Matthews, he got hurt, so he's out for a little while. Like I said, the Flyers took 7 of 8 points this past week. We're actually, I think as of right now, we're 2 points ahead of the Devils and 2 or 3 behind, the Penguins and the Islanders, who are in first and second place of the division. So that's kind of like the good news so far for me. So like I said earlier today, it was probably around, 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm at work, and I see a Facebook message from our good friend King. And it's a headline. It says, Notre Dame starting quarterback Ian Book out versus Florida State. And I'm like looking at this, and I had the website address underneath it, and it was NBCSports.com, and thinking, nah, this gotta be a joke. It's gotta be one of those things that if you click, it opens up a haha, I gotcha type deals and this and that. And I started thinking about it. I mean, I watched that game. I watched it's actually kind of a funny story. Me and Yolis went to a Baby Pens game last Saturday, and I streamed the Notre Dame game on my phone during the hockey game, and we basically did double duty because he's a Notre Dame fan also. And there was that one hit, and I'd be willing to bet it was this hit. Book ran out to the right, did a scramble, and when he slid, the defender, I guess in a way, was pulling up so he didn't hit him, but his knee went right into the back of his ribs. And you saw him wince, you see him get up, and he's kind of hunched over, and called a huddle, and came up to the line to hike the ball and stuff, and then they call a timeout. I'm thinking, okay, well, they're going to pull him out now to get checked. And he stayed in the whole game, and we ended up winning, and I didn't hear nothing at all during the week about that. And when I saw that, I read the article, and they said it's a rib injury. They didn't say if he broke any ribs or anything, but Ian Book will not play in Saturday's game against Florida State, who Notre Dame is ranked number 3 in the college football playoffs, due to a rib injury. The source, now this article is from ESPN. The source added that Book is expected to be available for the number 3 Fighting Irish game against number 13 Syracuse. Here's the thing though. We basically hold our fate in our hands. We got Florida State this week, Syracuse next week, and then USC to finish out the season. Florida State with Ian Book could be like a Wake Forest game or a a Navy or even a Michigan the first week, we could blow them out. With Wimbush in there, not good. I'm a little nervous now because the thing is, we got Florida State now with a up in the air game now with Wimbush starting, and then you got a tough Syracuse team coming in next week, and then you have a rivalry game to end out the season with USC. This turns into a very interesting 3-game stretch here. Hopefully, the game plan for this week is keep Wimbush's pass attempts at a minimum. Hopefully, the defense steps up and plays strong. Our corners play a little bit better than they've been playing. A lot of pass interference calls, against them, and hopefully our running game keeps rolling like it's been rolling. Maybe every now and then set up a play action and just go deep. But I know Florida State's not that good this year. This could be a letdown game. And this is not the time. It's way too late in the season. There's not enough time to make up if you do slip up a little bit. Hopefully we could get out of this this week with a win. But the fiance, she's working Saturday night. I told her if they ask you to stay later, I would suggest you stay later because I'm gonna be a very pissed off Irishman if we lose this game. But other than Notre Dame, I was looking at the other rankings. Obviously, Alabama is number 1. Clemson, who just demolished Louisville. 77-16. At some point, you gotta throw the white flag up. I didn't see the score until I got home, and like I said, me and King were texting back and forth, and he texted me that. First thing I thought of was I was putting those scores up when I was playing NCAA on PlayStation, and I was having a hard time doing that, and watching these highlights, they were doing it at ease. Alabama, I'll give them credit. I know I've been giving a lot of crap lately. Well, pretty much all season, that they haven't played anybody and they're not as good as their record shows and their scores are showing. Well, you took a number 3? Yeah, number 3 LSU team and just shut them out, 29-0. That is impressive. And King had a point to me that I was worried that Notre Dame, basically barely winning against Northwestern. I thought we would have stayed at 4. Michigan would have jumped us and went to 3, and I would have been okay with that because, Michigan beat Penn State 42-7. He said, King said, Bama and Clemson are light years ahead of any of us as far as how they're playing. And he does have a point. It's going on, 2-3 seasons now. It's been Bama and Clemson 1-2. But once you get to the playoffs, anything could happen. Not to use the cliche, but as of right now, if the playoffs start today, you have Bama against Michigan, Clemson against Notre Dame. Who's to say we got a little bit of luck of the Irish on our side and get a lucky bounce and win the last second, touchdown or something like that. But they are the top 2 teams. They're good picks there. Excuse me. At number 5, you got Georgia. I think they're gonna have a tough time getting in. I think at 5 and down, they basically need one of the top 4 teams to lose to have a chance. To have a chance to get in the top 4. Michigan's playing too tough. Notre Dame, like I said, has their fate in their own hands. So it's going to be interesting. But as far as this week, there looks like there's some good games lined up that could set up for some upsets. You have Alabama against number 16 Mississippi State. I mean, you gotta keep going with Bama until they lose or have a close game. Not sure how I want to score this, but I mean, I'm gonna take Bama. Then you have Clemson against number 17 Boston College. I'm gonna go with Clemson by 15. Boston College is good, but again, it's Boston College is like the San Diego Chargers, and Clemson would be like the Patriots with Randy Moss and Tom Brady and all that good defense and stuff like that. So I got Clemson by 15. And like I said, Notre Dame against Florida State. I don't know Florida State's not ranked, but with Wimbush starting there, that makes things pretty interesting now. Then you got Georgia playing number 24 Auburn. You gotta think Georgia knows they need help to get in, but they also gotta win. So they should have that sense of urgency. So hopefully, well, I mean, I hope everybody loses other than Notre Dame, but I'm gonna go with Georgia over Auburn by 12. Then you have Ohio State against Michigan State. That should be a good game. That's always a good game. Pretty sure it's a rivalry game. I'm gonna go with Michigan State with the upset, and I'm pretty sure that if they win, that would officially knock Ohio State out of the playoff race. Which I'm okay with because I don't like Urban Meyer. I think he's kind of stuck up in a way. But especially with all that stuff that went on in the off season, kind of hiding texts about the spousal abuse and stuff like that. But so that's my picks for college football this week. Who knows? Maybe I'll be live tweeting during the Notre Dame game too. So like I said, you can follow me over at Jimbo ST Sports. Maybe I'll jump on the show's Twitter account too and do it there also, which is you can follow us there at sorry about that, ST Sports Podcast. So moving on to NFL news. This is kind of like a last week and this week put together. Last week was the trading deadline. No Le'Veon Bell trade. Still has yet to sign his franchise tag, which I will get into. Some interesting stuff came out today about that. The Eagles made a trade for Golden Tate, which I seen a lot of Eagles fans upset that we gave up a third-round pick for a guy that's only going to play 8 games for us because we're not going to probably re-sign him. Thing is, we won't get a pick back next year, but we'll get either a 3rd or a 4th round comp pick in 2020. So, yeah, we gave up a pick to get back in 2 years. But hey, if he helps us win a Super Bowl, let's do it. Let's go back to back. Yeah, the Amari Cooper trade. I believe that was 2 weeks ago. And Demaryius Thomas from the Broncos, which I was surprised, got traded to Houston. I didn't think anybody was going to touch him because of his contract. I think his contract was kind of bloated. But Texans picked him up and ended up playing the Broncos for his first game as a Texan, which is kind of funny. He did all right. Amari Cooper debuted this past, I believe it was Monday night. Sunday or Monday night? I forget which night it was. Yeah, Monday night against the Tennessee Titans. I guess you could say as a debut, with only being with the team for 8-10 days, had an okay debut. 8 targets for 58 yards and 1 touchdown. Granted, the Cowboys lost because, Jason Garrett's just a phenomenal coach, and all he does is clap, whether it's good or bad. And Dak Prescott, I think his problem is he's letting the whole "I'm a Cowboy" get to his head, like the honor of being a Cowboy and all that pressure, with the Troy Aikman, the Roger Staubach. He needs to pump the brakes a little bit and just play his game after this Sunday. Because Philly's playing them, and from reading stuff, their offensive line is just obliterated with injuries and not very talented linemen. So hopefully our defense could get after them a lot and force some turnovers and just keep Ezekiel Elliott in check as well. Now, even though the trade deadline was last week, I may put this poll up. Who got the better trade? Maybe I'll wait till Monday to do that. That way it's Golden Tate's first game with the Eagles. Okay, granted, Cooper will have 2 games in, as well as Demaryius Thomas. Who do you guys think got the better trade? Now, last Tuesday, coming home from work, listening to ESPN, I forget which guy it was I was listening to. It was the 3 to 4 o'clock Eastern Time show. And he gave, as far as Olympic medals, he gave Houston Texans the bronze, the Eagles the silver, and Dallas Cowboys the gold. Now, I agree with his point in one aspect, that the reason why he gave the gold to Dallas is because they traded for short-term and long-term. The Eagles traded just for short-term because they know Golden Tate's going to be walking after this year. Most likely not going to re-sign with us. But here's the thing, Golden Tate is a better receiver than Amari Cooper. Cooper drops too many balls. He's not a game changer. Has a hard time stretching the field. Golden Tate, he's our deep threat now, which is going to open it up for Alshon Jeffries and Nelson Aguilar and all those other receivers, and take some pressure off of Zach Ertz, because Zach Ertz is our leading receiver on our team, and that's never good that your tight end is your leading receiver on a Super Bowl defending champion team. So, you guys may say I'm picking the Eagles as the gold medalist because I'm an Eagles fan, this and that, but strictly off of receiving talent, I gotta think the Eagles gotta be the gold. Dallas would be silver. And then Houston would be bronze, just because Thomas is old now. He's 31 years old. He's on his downside of his career. So, like I said, Monday I will put that poll up, and see what you guys vote. I'll put that on the Stay Tuned Sports podcast Twitter account. Maybe also, instead of doing picks tonight, I will post my picks on the Twitter account as well on Saturday night, and you guys could chime in, give me your replies, bash me, disagree with me. That's okay. I like a little interaction with you guys. One last topic I want to talk about before we close out the show. I'm not sure if you guys seen, but Floyd Mayweather held a press conference with Risen Fighting Federation to announce at the time, a special bout with a 20-year-old kickboxer. Man, I'm so gonna butcher his name, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize now. The kid's name is Tenshin Sakawa. He's undefeated in kickboxing and MMA. He's 27-0. Obviously, we all know that Mayweather is 50-0, and held a press conference and everything like that. And Mayweather sat there and played along with it, and announced that it was going to be on New Year's Eve. And then a couple days later, on Wednesday, Mayweather came out and said that the details of the bout was totally opposite than what he agreed to. And he released a statement on his Instagram saying, "Now that I'm back on US soil after a long and disappointing trip to Tokyo, I now have the time to address you, my fans, and the media in regard to the upcoming event on December 31st that was recently announced. First and foremost, I want to be clear that I, Floyd Mayweather, never agreed to an official bout with Tenshin Nasukawa. In fact, with all due respect, I never heard of him until this recent trip." And he goes on. It's a real long speech, or whatever you want to call it, but basically saying that he agreed to, and he thought it was going to be a special bout for high rollers, basically, that were going to pay a huge fee to come and watch him and this kid fight a 3-minute round, I guess boxing, because he's not a MMA fighter, at least not yet. I know he teased it last year or whatever. So I'm just curious of what exactly happened, and a lot of things are just kind of sketchy and just weird about this whole thing. Now, Ryzen, the Fighting Federation, they've been around for a few years now. They've gotten some good fighters that ended up coming over to UFC or Bellator. So it's not like this is like a backyard fighting organization. And for them to hold a press conference before a bout, or a special bout, or whatever they want to call it, was agreed upon. So I'm just curious, like, why would you hold a press conference as an organization and then only have the fighter come out and say, no, that's not what I agreed to? Now, on the flip side, this is also Mayweather's fault, in my opinion, because why would you sit there during the press conference? Oh wait, yeah. Let me get down to that part. He addressed that part as well. Why he basically just sat there during the press conference. Once I arrived to the press conference, my team and I were completely derailed by the new direction this event was going, and we should put a stop to it immediately. I want to sincerely apologize to my fans for the very misleading information that was announced during the press conference, and I can assure you that I too was completely blindsided by the arrangements that were being made without my consent nor approval. For the sake of the several fans and attendees that flew in from all parts of the world to attend this past press conference, I was hesitant to create a huge disturbance by combating what was being said, and for that I am truly sorry. Speak up. I mean, I'm sure they had security there. I mean, if you were really that worried that a huge fight would break out or a riot would break out, they would have security there to stop it. They always have security there for all these press conferences. So this whole press conference was a complete nightmare. This whole bout was a complete nightmare. Floyd Mayweather is still retired. I still don't want to see him in a MMA fight. I'm not even just going to say UFC, but like Bellator or any of them. Stick to boxing. He wants to still fight Pacquiao, which I'm sorry, about 10 years too late. Even when they fought, they were still 5 years too late. So that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for coming back, guys. Sorry about last week again. Not having an episode, but you could always go over to iTunes or Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn, any of those platforms, and listen to any of the past shows. Podbean app you could go to as well. And you could also go to our Twitter accounts, which you can follow me at Jimbo ST Sports, which I'll probably be live tweeting, like I said, on Saturday night and Sunday night with the Notre Dame and the Eagles game. You could go over to see King at King of Skunk Duck. Check out, like I said, his t-shirts, some of his designs he comes up with. And even if you need some graphic designs, shoot him a message and maybe you guys can work something out. And you could also follow the show at ST Sports Podcast over on Twitter. And you could also like and share us on Facebook as well. So I think that's going to be it. This is your good friend Jimbo signing out. See ya.